Welcome to Rooted and Rising, the podcast where healing gets real, truth gets loud, and your soul gets a little sass and sparkle. I'm Melanie, and today we're diving into a topic that I hope feels like a deep exhale. It's time to talk about letting go of stuff that was never yours to carry in the first place. So grab your tea, your wine, or whatever makes your soul happy, and let's get into it. Since this is our first episode, I want to start by sharing my story. What led me here, why I'm speaking out, and how this podcast became a space for healing truth and reclaiming your power. I've personally lived through betrayal, through abandonment by the people, the very people who were supposed to protect and uplift me. For years, I poured my energy into others, into family, into relationships, into roles that looked loving on the outside but left me empty on the inside. I was raised to be strong, to keep the peace, to smile through pain, and make things beautiful no matter how broken they felt underneath. And it did. I built homes, I built dreams, I held space, but somewhere along the way, I lost myself. If this is something that you can relate to, just keep listening. This is for you. After my mom passed away, everything shifted. Her death cracked something open in me. I saw the truth about my family, about the expectations I had absorbed, about the ways I silenced myself to keep others comfortable. And when I finally spoke my truth, I wasn't met with support. I was met with judgment, gaslighting, rejection. And that's when I knew I couldn't stay anymore. Rooted in Soul is about finding my center, rediscovering my essence. But Rooted in Rising, that's about what happens next. It's about what happens when you decide to stop thinking and start expanding. When you say, I've done the inner work and now I'm ready to rise. This isn't just a podcast. It's a revolution of self. It's for women like me who gave everything and finally said enough. It's for the ones who've been told they're too much, too emotional, too bold, when really, they were just too powerful for the rooms they were trying to fit in. So if you've been through some things, if you're healing, rising, shedding old stories, and reclaiming your voice, then this space is definitely for you. So if you've been through some things, if you're healing, rising, shedding old stories, and reclaiming your voice, this space is for you. I'm not here as an expert, I can tell you that. I'm here as a woman in process, a woman who's been broken open, stitched herself back together, and still believes in beauty. I still believe in God. I still believe in sacred work of starting over. So let's start this journey together. Let's root deep. Let's rise strong through the twists and turns that pulled you away from your true authentic self. Like you woke up one day catching glimpses of who you really are and wondered how far you drifted from that version of you. Have you ever experienced pain so deep it swallowed you whole and left you frozen in space? If any of this hits home, keep listening, because I promise you're not alone. My hope is that my story helps you find your way back to yourself. I've worn many hats. A devoted wife, aunt, loyal sister, loving daughter, and ultimately the best friend. Through it all, I poured my heart into everyone around me, believing that if I loved them enough, maybe that love would reflect back. But the love I needed, didn't come from places where I expected. It came from unlikely places, from people God placed in my life at just the right time. And slowly, the love I had been giving away so freely began to circle back to me. Not from the outside, but actually from within. I realized the one person I had forgotten to love was me. So through heartbreak, through awakening, through healing, this podcast is about reclaiming your self-worth, finding strength in vulnerability, and reconnecting with who you were always meant to be. If you've ever felt lost or broken, I hope these words guide you back to your own heart. Let me start with my awakening, the moment I realized I was carrying the very people who were supposed to support me the most. But in truth, they were the most toxic people in my life. I know this has to resonate with some of you. The emotions, the guilt, the stress, the expectations. I was actually drowning under all of the pressure. But none of it was mine. It was their pain, their projections, their mess. And I had unknowingly made it my own. Sometimes when you think you're being helpful, you're really just setting yourself up to be drained. Because toxic people, they don't want your help. They want your energy, your loyalty, your silence. They want your love, but never plan to give it back. I truly believed, if I just kept showing them love, real, patient, unconditional love, they'd eventually change. But I didn't realize I was the one changing. I was the one growing, and I was the one waking up. You see, I was the light in the room, trying to shine in the darkness, and eventually, my batteries ran out. I wasn't just tired, I was depleted, alone, disconnected, and unrecognizable to myself. That's when the true awakening began. When I finally hit that wall, when my words were constantly misinterpreted or mocked, that's when I realized I was never going to be heard by the people committed to misunderstanding me. So I let the weight go, and everything changed. But hear me clearly. Just because you put it down doesn't mean you won't want to pick it back up. Just because you walk away doesn't mean you won't cry and want to run back. It doesn't mean you won't doubt your decision. Healing isn't a clean break. It's a long unraveling. Your perspective doesn't shift instantly. It shifts as you do. And that takes time and patience and a level of self-focus you may have never given yourself before. And that, my friend, is just the beginning. Can you relate? That moment when you realize you spent so much time trying to prove yourself, trying to make someone who doesn't care, trying to be heard by people who never plan to listen? Yeah, me too. So let's break this down. Why do we do this? Because we care. Because we love. Because somewhere along the way, maybe we were taught that helping meant absorbing, that peace meant silence, and that love meant sacrifice. Many of us were conditioned to abandon ourselves for the sake of others. Well, and society, it reinforces that every day, telling us who to be, how to act, and what to accept. But here's the truth. Compassion is not the collapse of self. It's sacred. It's powerful. And it should be protected. Caring for yourself doesn't make you selfish. It makes you strong. You can love others well only when you've learned to love yourself first. That means setting boundaries that are healthy for you. That means creating a space around you where respect is not a given, and it's not a reward. You can also be loving. You can be compassionate. You can be helpful. And you can still be a damn boss. Okay? So let's also talk about accountability. It starts with you. Accepting that you've made choices that led to pain. Accepting that you've let people mistreat you. Accepting that you're human and hurt people. But then you go inward to your sacred space. You give yourself the time to heal. You offer grace when you fall backwards, because you will. You have to offer grace to yourself all the time, because you are a creature of habit. You are living in what was and trying to step into what is. And you are going to mess up. And it is okay. But you get back up. And you do it again. Until it sticks. Until it transforms you. Transformation takes time. But you have to love yourself enough to know that you are investing in your soul, in your soul's purpose, and where you're meant to be, and who you're meant to be, and where you're going. And it's okay to look back. It's just not okay to keep looking back. You have to keep looking forward, keep getting up, and keep resting in the mistakes, but fighting for the truth. Let's talk about the signs. These are big, right? Like, we need to understand when you're doing what you shouldn't versus what you're doing what you should. These are important moments that I need to really have you guys hear. This is important, okay? Signs that you're carrying energy that isn't yours. You have a conversation with your best friend and you leave feeling exhausted. You feel responsible for fixing everyone's problems. You shrink your joy because someone else is struggling. You're constantly apologizing for things that are truly not your fault. So now what? Let's talk about each one of these subjects. You're exhausted after conversations. The reason why you're exhausted after a conversation is because you're giving all of yourself and getting nothing in return. If this is a best friend, if this is a family member, if this is a husband, whoever it is for you does not deserve all of you. You deserve all of you. And you should give as much as you can. And when it starts to get to be too much, here's an example. That friend that tells you the same problem every single solitary day. You've already talked to them about it 100 times. And your solution is always the same solution, even though you've reworded that solution 100 times. I know you guys can relate with this because there's always that one person that does this, right? So you're exhausted because you've told them 1,000,000 times the same exact thing in 25,000 different ways, and they're not listening because they're a victim and they just want your attention. And you're never ever going to win in that situation. You're never ever going to walk away from that conversation feeling energized. How do I set a boundary here? Well, this is how I do. You can do it however you feel comfortable. But how I set a boundary is, we've talked about this 100 times, and I don't have the energy to talk about it anymore. I'm sorry if this upsets you, but please don't bring this up to me any longer. I'm not interested in talking about it. And they're going to act like the victim that they are. They're going to be like, what? You're, it doesn't matter what they say. It does not matter. Because your space is valuable. Your energy is valuable. Whether you're an empath or you're not. Like, whoever you are, like, you don't deserve to stay stuck in a space with somebody because they're stuck. You need to move on. You're not responsible for fixing everybody's problems. And that is one way to stop having to fix somebody else's problem, by setting that boundary with clear words and stick to it. Don't let them, because they're going to try to tell you that again, and they're going to come back and they're going to try to say it again. And you're going to have to tell them again, I said I was not interested in talking about this. And if you're going to continue to talk about this, I'm going to remove myself. So this is healthy boundaries that you are setting to the people that are trying, I call them energy vampires, that are trying to steal your energy. You had the best day in your life, and then here comes your best friend trying to suck your joy. Okay? You shrink. You can't tell them how great your day was because they're talking about how bad theirs was again. Okay? And then you are happy, and then they feel sad, and then you apologize for what? For being happy and they're sad? Okay, so listen. It is so important, if you are relating and connecting with this, to always stand firm in your boundaries. It's going to feel awkward at first if you're not very good at setting boundaries. It's going to feel uncomfortable, and that's okay. It's okay to feel uncomfortable, and you're going to mess up sometimes, and that's okay too. But just keep reasserting yourself, and eventually you're going to grow that boundary. You're going to grow that strength in that boundary, and then it's just going to feel natural. So how do you start? The first thing I would say is, when somebody's giving me something, is this mine? Seriously, say it out loud. Is this mine? Like, is this mine? No, it's not. Then breathe. Okay? Breathing is huge here. Like, being that I'm an empath, and I'm more than sure I'm talking to many empaths, you want to visualize your energy clearing and send it back to where it belongs, because it doesn't belong to you. So one way that I do it is, I will, when I meditate, or even if like I feel like my energy is being depleted, I'll remove myself. I'll find a private spot. Even if it's on a toilet in a public bathroom, I don't care. I'm closing the door and I'm going to take a minute. And two of the ways that I do it. One is that I visualize white light going down from my head all the way down through my limbs, my arms, my body, my legs. And then then behind that is water. Water comes in and it just like cleanses and, removes. So the light highlights the energy and the water washes it away. Another way that you could do it is visualize a balloon and imagine all of that energy going into the balloon, and that balloon just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until you realize that all the energy is in the balloon. Then you take a pretend pin and you pop the balloon, okay? And it just goes away from you. And then, then you can pour the light over you and the water over you. These are really important things that have helped me tremendously to cleanse my energy. Another way is like writing it down in a journal or a piece of paper or a notebook, whatever it is. Write down what you're feeling. Write down what isn't yours, especially. Like, you want to write down, this does not belong to me. And just remember that if once you write that down, another thing that you can do is you can get a bowl of water. This is something that I practice. My husband laughs at me because I'm always like doing weird things. Like, I'll go get a bowl and put some water in it, and I come into the office, my meditation room, and I, cut everything from the paper and I burn it like strip by strip into the water, and I'm like, this is not my energy. It no longer belongs to me. These are things that seriously do work. And so it's just the act of doing that helps you know that you need to release this. So just remember too that you can care without carrying somebody else's weight. It's okay to care for a person, but when that person starts invading your energy and your space, that's when you're like, okay, like, I love you, man, but you're gonna have to take a few step backs. I actually need a break from you because you are draining my energy. But remember, you are allowing it. So it's very important for you to remember when you're starting to feel that way, that it's time to speak up. Because if you don't, it's going to keep happening. I promise you, it's going to keep happening. And you are not responsible for someone else's healing. That's between them and God. That's between them and their action. Send them to me. I'll speak wisdom to them. If you can't, that's fine. Just tell them to listen to my station, listen to my podcast. So I hope all of this is resonating with you guys in such a profound, genuine way because, we all walk different paths. We all have different stories. But I think in this life, as humans, we all encounter a lot of the same emotions. Yes, we process them different because it depends on how you were raised and what you take from society, and how you process things is always going to be different. This is always going to be a safe space, right? Like, this is always going to be a safe space where we can actually have real talk. This is never going to be a podcast where you're going to hear, bad advice, okay? Because this is real life stuff here. Right? I'm not going to talk about your finances and things like that. That is not my place. But I will talk about your soul. I will talk about this being a human experience for your soul, right? Like, our souls are here for our soul's purpose. I'm a God girl. I believe in God 100%. I believe in spirit 100%. I'm not necessarily a church person, and if you are, that's great. You do you. I stick with spirit and prayer and meditation and healing in my way. I just have had enough experience in the church that I just don't want to go back. So that's my thing, and if that bothers you, then maybe this podcast isn't for you. But the truth is that I'm not for everyone. My words aren't for everyone. But my words are truth. They're my truth. They might not be yours. And that's okay. Like, you never have to come back here and you never have to listen to this again. But I'm going to keep speaking my truth because it's time for me to do that. So if you're here and you enjoy this, and if you're here and you want to be here, thank you for being here. You guys are going to become my soul fam, and I love it. So, all right, soul fam, let's wrap this up with a little bit of a soul snack. So, grab your journal. If you don't have one, maybe grab a piece of paper. And let's start small. Let's start with your journal prompt. What weight am I carrying that isn't mine? This is a great place to start. You might have a million different things. But write them all down. And like I was telling you earlier, you can burn them. However you want to start this process. You can cleanse your energy because it will work. I promise you. Let's let one thing go. Just one. Maybe it's an apology you don't owe, a conversation you don't need to have, a feeling that doesn't belong to you. Let it go. And when you do, breathe deeper. Visualize exactly what it is that you are trying to accomplish in that moment. Listen, you are not here to carry what's breaking you. You are here to rise and let the rest go. And so until next time, keep it rooted and rising.